Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me again. Here we are in October already. And for some of you, Rhinebeck is just around the corner. And uh, what's just around the corner for me, just days away, is my daughter's wedding this coming weekend. So that's, even though, yes, I'm going to New York Sheep and Wool, my daughter's wedding is the most exciting thing happening in October for sure. And we are just, it's going to be so much fun. There was so much planning. It's a DIY wedding that she spent a lot of time and effort in putting together. And I tried to help her as much as I could, as much as she wanted me to. And here we are, just days away. It's so much fun. So, anyway, since I last saw you, I've been to Colorado, I think. It was our annual fall trip to Colorado, cut short a little bit by the fact that our little Suki got a little bit sick. She was constipated, and to a degree that we had to take her to the vet for certain things. And so we decided we would delay and just let that resolve itself before we felt comfortable leaving. But it was a beautiful trip. I will insert a picture or pictures here that will represent our time in the mountains. We were mostly in the Boulder area. That's where we stayed. We loved the area, and then we go to different places in the mountains from there. Last year we were in the south, and then and hiked Pikes Peak, and then we went north. But this year we stayed in the north and did a whole bunch of things that we loved, and beautiful weather. So on that trip, I knew I'd be working on a sock, and I specifically wanted to. I think I'd started this already, but definitely on the trip, I wanted to be working on Briana Arlene's Julie's, let me see, let me get the name right. Julie's Summer Shorty Socks. This is a pattern, a colorwork pattern that she had already released. I'll put a picture here. But the first version was toe up, and this version is toe cuff down, which is the only way that I've been making socks in the year and a half that I've been knitting. So I was thrilled to see that design because you've got this beautiful color work on top. And then this slip stitch, cool ribbing type of thing happening. The slip stitches make the ribbing in the center. So this was also done. I also did this on my 9-inch size, US size 0. Is that 2.00 millimeters, I believe. I have to say though, you might be able to tell, but I just didn't like although I adore this color, this orchid, deep orchid color of this sock yarn, I didn't like working with it. It's Heritage sock. I think I might have it here. No, I don't. It's Heritage, Cascade Heritage sock. And I just felt like it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. This is color 5757. I didn't enjoy working with it as much as I've enjoyed working with other sock yarns that are, well, not all indie dyed, because I do enjoy working with this sock yarn, which is Knit Picks Hawthorne. I don't recall the color. So it's very round. Let me see if I have some of it here. I don't think I do. But it's very round, and I've really enjoyed working with it. I will definitely buy more. And other sock yarns that I've picked up and used along the way. So I didn't want to make the other sock. Definitely will not be making it in this color. What I might do on this upcoming trip that I have is do the reverse and use the blue and then pop in this color for the color work and then this. I don't mind if they're reversed. I'm probably only going to wear these as bed socks anyway. But I really enjoyed making this and I can't wait to make it again. It made the foot go much faster, and especially because I was using a yarn I didn't like, then it just made the process of the foot even better. So I went right into travel knitting. I'm going to be totally out of order and a little scrambled in this video. I just wanted to get a video out before the wedding and then off to New York State, and I'll talk about that in a second. So while I was there, I also had a pretty big ball of this blue. And I had brought, I'm going to get my Ravelry in front of me. I brought other size needles because I thought I wanted to just start a scarf that was shaped like a Sophie scarf. So quote unquote skinnier scarf that gets a little larger but then tapers. But I didn't want to do a Sophie scarf, certainly didn't want to do a Sophie scarf in a plain color. So I looked around for patterns that I felt like, okay, this is shaped like a Sophie scarf. It's going to be a little neck scarf in this blue, and it'll go well with my like dusty rose. I'll just show you this color because it's kind of like maybe this is like, no, that's too orange. The color of my winter coat, which I'll show you once my scarf is done. But dusty rose-ish, I guess, is the coat that I wear a lot in the wintertime. And then I have a longer, more heavy duty, like LL Bean parka-like thing that's navy blue. But that's fine. I wanted to make this navy blue yarn into like a neck scarf that I could wear with that dusty rose terracotta color jacket. And I tried, I'll put a photo in. Oh yeah, I tried the Riptide Scarfette by, I think it's called JST Designs, Jennifer Shields Tolan. I saw this on Instagram, I think. This was just released in September. I love the way this scarf looks. Making it, however, was so hard for me. Here's what I learned out of that experience. I don't think I enjoy making lace, knitting and lace. I tried. I don't like making yarn overs and holes and things. And it doesn't necessarily look like this has big holes in it, but you do have to do a lot of yarn overs to do those little eyelet holes that you see on the border. And I just wanted my scarfette to look like it does in this photo, but I didn't have patience, skill. I was on vacation. I was tired in the evening. I was distracted by what we were watching on TV. So I just gave up on it and decided to continue knitting this while I was on the trip. So when I got home, I was still looking for a neck scarf. I don't have, other than one sock, I don't have any finished items right now. So I'll just move on to works in progress, of which there's two. But when I got home, I then had all of my yarn in front of me and I thought, okay, what can I do? I actually want to make a scrappy scarf. And since I had tried a new pattern and it didn't work, I thought, you know what, can I make a scrappy Sophie scarf? That way, the Sophie scarf, which is very repetitive garter stitch, will be more interesting because it's blocked, it's color blocked. So I got out all of my sport weight yarn. I have a lot of sport weight yarn. I've made 2 sweaters in sport weight, which I'm going to show you one of them. So several different types of yarn. I got them all out. Well, actually, no, 3 sweaters in sport weight yarn, I think all this year. So, oh my God. I have a lot of scraps. So, in this weight. So I got them all together and I laid them out. I think I'm using size 4 needles. Let me see if I can, US 4, sorry. Let me see if I can read this. Can I? I think it's a 6. Yep. And what, 4 millimeter, size 6. It's sport weight, so that makes sense. And I wanted it to be cushy. So this is what I came up with. You'll see this green is in the middle, and it's I don't think it's going to appear again. The reason I did that is that's this center area. These 3 stripes are the middle. Let me get this on the wire. Is the middle. So I thought with my Dusty Rose terracotta jacket that this is what it's going to look like. This just made it used up a little ball of this yarn. I'll tell you what the yarns are in a second, but I just had little balls of this beautiful baby bluish and then this green, and I really wanted to use those up, so I thought I'll throw this in, but I'm not going to use it again, I don't think, because I'm going to repeat back down what I did. So what are these colors? So I have a lot of Purl Soho Wigeon. I have a lot of Knit Picks High Desert Sport. I just made my Andrea Mowry stripes sweater from the Knit Picks Sport High Desert, which I'll show you in a second. And then I had a few Babycat yarns. That's a brand. It's Brie from Babycat Yarns in Colorado Springs. I bought some minis from her to possibly use in the color work of Briana Arlene's Desert Days sweater. So I had some little nuggets of that. And then these 2 colors, so these 2 colors are Lavender Lune. It's their DK. I'm going to say it's called Organic DK because it's non-superwash. I think the Babycat is superwash. I'm not sure. If it is or isn't, I'll put it on the screen. These 2, the Burgundy and the Forest Green, are Lavender Lune. And then this beautiful orangey, it's just my perfect orangey color, is Purl Soho Wigeon. And it's called, wow, I've now forgotten the name, but I'll put it here. It's on my Ravelry too. I'm loving this. So this is what it's going to look like when I've got that Desert Rose, and I'll put it all together when I finish it in my next video. And my navy blue parka. I'll have those coats available the next time to show you, but have fun with color blocking like this. Not all these stripes are the same. They're not all the same row. I made that determination. I knew that going in, by the time I got here, I wanted these to be, sorry about that. I wanted these to be thinner, but not too thin blocks so that I could get more color in the front. And then these could be a little longer just to use up more yarn. And because they weren't going to be right in front, which way does this go? Yeah, so I'm decreasing now because I got it to a point that I could see it was long enough. Yay! Yeah, have fun. Like, throw caution to the wind. The thing that I did that wasn't throwing caution to the wind is I picked the colors first, but then I wasn't too crazy about a lot of it after that. And as I said, I did throw this one in just because I don't know if I like it or not, but it's done now, so it's staying that way. I don't know. There was something about me that just wanted to throw that in. Maybe I could have just done light blue, green, light blue, but it's done now. Yeah, have fun. No particular plan, but I did lay the colors out. And then as I went, I was very just loose with how I was feeling the colors should flow. And it feels really good to use scraps. And now I'm very, very motivated to use scraps in a hat because I don't have enough. I've only have one hat that I've knitted because I've given the others away. So, you know, to my daughter, to my son, things like that. So I need to make another one for me at some point. So that's that. I have something in the works that I started right after I finished that Olga Putano cushion vest that I showed in my last video. I think I'm wearing it in my last video. That's certainly something that I'm thinking about wearing to New York Sheep and Wool. But we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, let me try on my work in progress, which is an Eva cardigan. I'll talk about this little bump in a second, but that's actually, it's not as prominent on this side, but that's actually a result of putting all of these stitches on the needle once you've built the back. Let me just show you the shoulder. Once you've built the back and the shoulders coming up over the tops of your shoulders, then you have to stick all of the live and stitches on hold on the needles, and it doesn't feel right, but that's what the pattern's asking you to do. So I trusted the pattern. All right, let me see if I can try this on without disturbing. Oh, this is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I'll try not to. I'm going to remove my microphone while I'm doing this. I will stand up for you. Okay. Here is the Eva cardigan. This sleeve may look a little short, but this is merino. This is drops daisy, so I'm counting on it to grow a little bit. I have knitted the length of the body and the sleeve to pattern. And if I need to add a little bit here, I will, but I think this is going to grow a tiny bit. I did 3 inches of ribbing, 2x2 ribbing on the sleeve and on the bottom and on the button bands. Don't you love it? Oh my God, I was looking for a cozy cardigan design. This is Petite Knit's Eva cardigan. It's DK weight. She did hers in Pure Gint. I'll look that up. But I'm doing mine in what would be the Sandus Garn Double Sunday dupe, I think, which is Drops Daisy in navy blue. I did not want 10 inches of positive ease. So I picked extra small so that it would give me less than 10 inches of positive ease. My gauge is 20.5, 21 inches per 20.5, 21 stitches per 4 inches. And then I was like 28 rows. That was my swatch. On a size 5, this is a size 6 in the pattern, but my swatch turned out to be close to gauge. The gauge for the cardigan is, let me get it in front of me here. 20 stitches and 30 rows. Yeah. So that's why I had to go to a US 5 to get close to gauge. My size, the extra small, would give me, so it says that I should get a finished bust circumference of 44 inches, which I have like a 35.5 upper bust and a 36-inch bust. That's all I needed. Did not want more than that. So I am like in love with this pattern. I am not someone that likes knitting plain stockinette. So when I got into this sweater, I thought, I am doing this for the product. I don't know if I can survive all this plain stockinette without stripes or texture. I don't know what it is. I love the yarn. I love the yarn weight. I love the details, all this work that you're doing that's different than typical raglan. I'm going to put some photos up, the pattern photos that may show this off a little more. But do you see how this sleeve, although it's a raglan, do you see how it looks like it's a set-in sleeve because of this saddle-ish thing going on, right? So it looks like from some areas, it looks like you have built a set-in sleeve. That's how clean that is. And yet you build the trapezoid on the back, you build these, I'll call them saddles, and then you're building something else that I don't remember. And then it says to put all those things on the needles. And I'm thinking, well, if I do that, I can do this on the needles. I can do the back on the needles, but that other thing that you're growing that I can't figure out what it was I was doing has to go on the needles too. So it's kind of like you have to bend it on the needles. And I didn't know what was going on. And I just thought, well, I'm going to trust the process here. And I trusted the process and it all worked. And again, this one part it looks a little bumpy than the other. And I'm just hoping that that all blends once I block it. I don't tend to block things by pinning everything, but if it's a cardigan, I'll definitely, make sure I'm putting pins to settle that down. The button band was really easy. I love this button band. It's nice and wide. And I steamed the edges of the stockinette before I did the button band. She says to just bind off in pattern, but also to just bind off by using knit stitches only. So that's what I did. I love the buttons that she uses in the pattern, and I'll be able to look for buttons at New York Sheep and Wool. So that'll be fun and really good timing. But yeah, I could not love this more. And I have plenty of yarn so that if I have to go longer here, then I will just add some here. But I'm just trucking along with this sleeve and loving the room that I have here. I've tried this on with a long sleeved. This is just going to be like a throw-on thing for me. It's really what I wanted. Very wearable, everyday stuff. So yeah, this is my Eva cardigan. Okay, speaking of leftover sport weight yarn, I just wanted to show you, in case you're newer here. Let's see, when did I make this striped sweater? In May. Started this in May and I got finished with it in June. I still have some ends to weave in because there's 1,000 ends to weave in this sweater. And you'll see that I have some elastic in the neckline to contend with that I haven't joined together yet, so I have to finish that. But this is my Andrea Mowry striped sweater. Can you notice a trend this year? This is what I mean by being so intimidated by doing something solid stockinette. It just goes to show you, if you've got a yarn that you really love and a project that you're in love with, I don't know, it just all works. So This was my first time knitting anything striped. And I messed up from the very beginning. You'll see this little red stripe. Didn't really understand or notice that until I was well on my way and I wasn't going back. You start the neck with the neckline, and the neckline is wide. I now know, compared to like the sweater I'd made before that, the Purl Soho sweater. So I knew that I'd have to draw it in. Now, my friend Bebe, who's in New Zealand and who is part of Just Another Knitting Pod, is that what it's called? Just Another Knitting Podcast with her husband, Stephen. She has taught me through watching her video that it would have been probably much better for me to start knitting the sweater and then knit up to do something with making that neckline smaller. I have another sweater, the Desert Day sweater by Briana, Arlene, where that could have been helpful, but that was a test knit. So I used Knit Picks High Desert Sport, and I just picked some of these colors. A lot of them were on sale, and some of them were sold in 50-gram skeins, which was nice. I'm learning that if I can get colors that are 50 grams or minis or whatever, it'd be much better for a striped project because I have a lot of leftovers. The weird thing about this is, if you can see in that yellow, the yellow and a couple other colors felt thinner than the other colors. And wouldn't you know, that's right at the chest. So it's kind of weird because you're making increases a lot in this yoke, which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the way that she put all that together, and short rows too. And it looks fine when it's on. It looks fine, but it's just weird that it was thinner, like it wasn't as plump as the other colors. So that's what happened. I love the fit of these sleeves. I have just recently taken finally photos of me in this sweater. I noticed on my Ravelry that I didn't have a photo of me in it. So I have just recently put some photos just so you can see how it looks. I knit a size 2 on a US 4, 3.5 millimeter, and then a US 2, 2.75 millimeter for the ribbing. I think that is the recommended needle size. That makes sense because it's sport weight. Yeah, I've chosen the structured collar option instead of the relaxed collar, where you cast it on first. I'll go back in and add the collar later. Well, I didn't do that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Or did I? Huh, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like even if I added this collar later, I didn't decrease to make it smaller. And now I would do that. I would ask my friends for help, Bebe being one of them, for help and advice before I did it, but I would do that now. Because having a wider neckband, even this is a little bit, I'd like it to be a little tighter. I like a nice tight crew. Oh, by the way, this is the Creabea Lusk tee. This is my first time doing a set-in sleeve. I made it this summer out of Drops Bell in the like marzipan. This is like the 01 or 02. Let me find it in my Ravelry. And yeah, my first time doing a set-in sleeve where you do short rows back and forth. It was really fun. I made a size 2 by mistake, meaning I think I wanted something with a little bit more positive ease, but then because her patterns have so many options on them, I got confused and ended up making something in between. I'm using a size 6 to get gauge and US 4 for the ribbing. I began stripes just randomly. Next time, I'll refer to the mods as part of the pattern. So way back further in the pattern, she tells you how to do stripes. But because this is knit back and then front, I didn't know how to do that, so I just made it up. But this was really the reason for this Lusk tee for me was to practice a set-in sleeve, so I didn't really care about the end product that much. Okay, that covers what I'm wearing. I mentioned this because depending on the temperature, I might wear this at Rhinebeck. I'm not sure yet, but it's either this or the vest. Okay, fall plans. I know at least one thing that's solid that I'm going to make, and then the other things, actually maybe two, one definitely, one at some point between the fall and the winter, and then others are just living in my head and have been for quite a while. So the first thing that I'm going to go to my favorites. The first thing that I had seen a while ago that Petite Knit had been working on was this light blue, dusty light blue and thin burgundy striped sweater. And it's a raglan. It looks like it's a raglan. And she had been showing this on her Instagram. And it's called the Frankie sweater. And it just got released last Friday. It's a DK weight. She did hers in Pure Gint, a Norwegian wool, a Sandnesgarn Norwegian wool that will be too rustic for me. But it looks gorgeous because I think it's got this little halo. It's done on a size 6, 20 stitches and 30 rows. That's similar to the Eva cardigan, so I'll probably have to go down to a size 5. When I saw this, I've been looking at some Sandnesgarn Double Sunday that's on sale at my local yarn shop, Moon and Yarn Craft Room. And when I saw this, I knew that they had a color that's a dusty blue. I'll put the number of the color and if it has a name, the associated name, and it's on sale. So I am picking that up tomorrow. I put some in my cart so that because the shop is open tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and so I can pick it up. And I'll begin that after I get back from New York State, I think. But I do want to use a dark burgundy, which they don't have at my local yarn store, so I'll have to pick that up. She does hers in new Petite Knit colors. That burgundy is called something fig. Let me look here. Does she say? Yeah. The blue and burgundy Frankie sweater is knitted in Pure Gint by Sandnesgarn in the colors September Sky and Velvet Fig. I wish maybe at some point Double Sunday will also be in those colors, but instead I'll use deep burgundy. But I love the color combination. I could easily make like an Olga sweater, but when I saw this, I have the cloud sweater living in my head, and I really want to make that sweater in something like the Snuff Nug, the chain net yarn. But when I saw this, it's very close to like having the rolled collar and a very casual look. And I'm looking for very wearable, casual, throw on, throw it off stuff, everyday stuff that I can wear to build in my wardrobe that I don't feel precious about. This was in one of my first experiences about not feeling precious about something was my recent Stornoway tee, which I made into a sweater. And it's made from Drops Daisy. It has no itch factor to me, or I should say prickly factor to me. I have very sensitive skin. So I'm going to be using a lot of merino. It's going to pill a lot. That's life for me, I guess. And I love that so much that I've thrown it on in the morning when I'm taking my Suki for a walk in the backyard. And I know it's just, I don't feel precious about it. And I just want other pieces right now like that. The Eva cardigan fits in. So does this Frankie sweater. All right, so I know that's on the docket. The other thing that I just went nuts for is the Florence Miller Kitten Catch mittens. I'll put a picture up. I'm not going to make the full mittens, but I am definitely making some fingerless mittens with this pattern and getting at least one cat face on the back of my hand. I don't know what I'm going to do for the palm. I don't know if I'm going to do all of that color work. I'm not sure yet. I'd love to do like a half thumb, like I've done on my other fingerless, and I don't think I can fit a fish on. So maybe I'll put the fish on the palm. I'll do something with the chart. I don't know yet, but I know I'm getting some of the design and the precious cat face on the front. I have some leftover Jamesons of Shetland. I don't know if I have enough for all of the pattern. I have to look at the yardage, but I would love to try to use stash if I can. I also have some linen quill. So we'll see. That's in the near future. I'd like to start that project for sure. And then Jessica McDonald is one of my favorite designers. I would love to test knit everything that she comes out with to test knit, and also to knit everything that she comes out with. But in particular, she's been showing this color work sweater called Wild Grass. And I don't know if I don't have any of the details about it anymore. So that's a possibility. I could easily knit her northerly sweater, a pattern that just came out, but it's worsted, and I just don't think I'm interested in worsted, and especially color work sweaters. I just don't think that's practical for me. But and so now I'm thinking, like, I don't know what wild grass is, so I'll put some details here. So I don't know whether I would actually be knitting that or not. But however, what really remains as something I'm a little obsessed with is speaking of heavyweight sweaters, the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things. I am obsessed with that pattern, the colors of the original design, and then there's a couple other color combinations that I have. Anything that's like burgundy, light blue, any of the versions of that. But it's like Aran. It's lace and sport weight, which maybe for us would be worsted. I know sometimes like the UK version of worsted can be called Aran. Now that I've knitted some drop shoulder designs and some other designs that aren't like a full circular yoke, I don't know whether I want to knit a circular yoke very much. Like I might do that for the wild grass, but I do like a better fit for from either a set-in sleeve like this or a drop shoulder. So it remains to be seen whether I'll. But the wild grass is certainly calling my name. But something like the Norma sweater is very attractive to me. I fell in love with the terracotta sweater by Knit through this podcaster's version of it. I'm drawing a blank, but I'll put her here. I just love her podcast, and I could just knit everything that she's knit, I swear. But she's been working on the terracotta sweater by Knit, Lena Holm Samso. This is done in pure Gint with a mohair. So DK with a mohair. God, what am I getting myself into? But after doing the Stornoway tee by Cheryl Mokhtari, I love this terracotta sweater combination of color work going straight across, because I think this is a drop shoulder. Yeah. And texture combined, but in a drop shoulder. So it's going across, and it's done at a smaller scale than Knit's porcelain sweater, which is just a little bit too large scale for me in terms of design. I love the terracotta color. I think I would do this in possibly the Knitting for Olive. I've seen it done in Knitting for Olive. Many of the versions have been done in Knitting for Olive. I know that, yeah, and I think I would use a terracotta color. I know some people have used the color Robin. I would probably go with an off-white and Robin and powder. I see a version done in Robin and powder. My local yarn store, Moon and Yarn, also carries Knitting for Olive, so I can really look at the colors they have there. I don't know if they have the colors that I would knit that in. But that's also in my mind. Oh my goodness. I will be doing, I mean, there's some color work hats that I have and that I have favorited that I want to get to. So maybe it's a Fair Isle hat. There is one hat pattern. There is one hat pattern by Caitlin Hunter that I know I'll be making this year in the fall or winter called the Ovis hat with these little sheep heads. Well, sheep bodies. So here's the body and then the sheep. That's definitely on my list. I would do it with a double brim. Oh, so many things. So those are my possibilities. Definitely the Frankie sweater is up next. I haven't done a petite knit sweater since I did, well, I've never done a sweater. I made the Stockholm vest, which I then didn't like the fit of because I didn't realize that was like when I was brand new, and I didn't realize all the positive ease was going to be an issue for me. So I actually re-knit it into something else and made the shape different. So I'm going to go to New York Sheep and Wool on the Saturday. I really hope to run into any one of you that's going to be there. If you see me, please say hi. And yeah, I hope to run into some podcasters that I know. I do hope to find the hill. If you see me, please let me know where the hill is and where people will be gathering. I don't want to miss it this year like I did last year. I hope to find buttons for my Eva cardigan. That'll be a fun thing to have on my list. I want to see as many animals as I can. I want to see the women again, the lovely staff from the Woolly Thistle. So I can't wait to see them. And anyone else that I am friends with on Instagram or here on YouTube. Then the day before, we are going to Kripalu, which is a yoga retreat center in West Stockbridge, Massachusetts. So it's very close to the New York border. And then Sunday, I have a ticket to go back to New York Sheep and Wool on Sunday, so that's an option. Or we might go for a hike in the area, which we did last year. So I don't know. It's open. We have the wedding to enjoy first, and can't wait to see everyone that's coming into town and friends and family coming into town. And please let me know if you're going to be at Rhinebeck, what you've been knitting on while you're watching this. I would love to know. And what you're going to knit this fall. Let us know what you're going to knit. Tuning in, I'm really happy you're here. If you feel so moved to like this video and even subscribe, if you want to know when I put out another video, I would really appreciate that. And I'll see you again in a couple weeks. Bye.